Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. Today's video I'm going to be talking about Mercury and psychic messages. If you are new to this channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, returning listener, welcome back. Thank you so much for the support. If you guys don't know, or if you do know, I have Mercury in the 12th house, and what prompted this video was I actually had a dream last night, and in this dream I had a longtime friend come and reach out to me, and I actually haven't spoken to this friend in quite some time. So I was sitting outside and I was just thinking about this friend, and I started to think about psychic messages within dreams or just daydreams, impressions, and whatnot. And I was prompted to make this video for any of you out there that know about this subject or don't know, and just what I think about psychic messages, specifically, at least for me, in the dream realm. So I want to give you guys a visual, which is going to be like a tightrope. Those circus tightropes, and the person gets on, and you only have many ways, as I say it, that you can go when it comes to a tightrope. For the sake of time and this topic, I will pretty much just be talking about two different types of people, but I'll touch on three. So the first type of person, which is like the friend that reached out to me, is actually, before I even get into that, what I want to say first about psychic messages, let's start with Mercury. So Mercury within the birth chart or within astrology is the planet that deals with communication, is the planet over thinking process. But obviously for the sake of this video, it is about communication. And so Mercury is going to show how you communicate, depending on the sign and whatnot. The house is going to show where you receive communication, or more so how you process information, how you process data, etc., etc. So when it comes to psychic messaging, I do feel like it is a very 12th house kind of thing. But of course, psychic, to me, there's no house that really says psychic. It just depends on how you look at them. But for the most part, at least I could say, looking at my life, the way my psychic messages come in is through dreams. I do sometimes get them through music too, but it's mostly dreams. Symbols, archetypes, things of that nature. So what's a psychic message? So a psychic message is any message that basically is not like, you don't have proof. There's no receipt. That would be my definition of what a psychic message is. So it could be telepathic communication. That's also psychic messages as well. So like what I just said earlier about music, that's like telepathic messages. Some people get just telepathic messages just out of the blue in general. There's so many ways that I can describe a psychic message. But basically it's without receipt, you're not going to be able to pull up your phone. You're not going to have the email, it's not like that. Okay. And it's very emotional, or I wouldn't say very, but psychic messages are kind of rooted in emotion, rooted in feeling, but of course can be rooted in thought as well. But I would say maybe because I have a lot of water, it is rooted in feeling and emotion. Okay. So for me, and I think I've mentioned this in another video, I've had my friends come to me in dreams telling me messages all the time. And I take those messages very seriously because I have proof to back that up according to my experience. Because obviously not everybody takes every message that they take in their dreams as for face value. So I would suggest, knowing about your life, paying attention, and then you'll know like, okay, pay attention to patterns, which messages, which types of dreams. Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about dreams, because it's relaying to what I'm talking about, the example that I'm going to be giving. But it could be for anything, just pay attention to patterns and things of that nature. So I feel like there's really three types of people in this world, but like I said, I'm going to be focusing on two. The first type is the one that has such a connection to the astral realm. They're very introverted. They have a rich inner life to the point where they really do not like spending time with people or don't really go out of their way to spend time with people. And this causes detriment to their physical life. This causes detriment to their bodily autonomy and how they are using their ability to navigate this plane. And that could be in many ways, whether it be finances, whether it be keeping relationships, keeping those physical relationships, and so many things, we could just go on. Okay. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, or the other side of this tightrope, we have the person who is so engrossed in the physical plane that they minimize or dehumanize the astral or the psychic emotional connection, their psychic emotional connection. A lot of times, it doesn't mean that they're not connected to their emotional psychic body. It just means that they are unaware of it. And so, like I said, they minimize it. What I've noticed through the years as someone who, receives messages from their friends and from other people in the dream realm, in the astral realm, is that the people, number one, I can't really trust either one of those people. And the reason why is because the person is not reliable. To me, the person is not a reliable person. So the reason why the person who minimizes their emotional and psychic bodies, I don't trust them, because they might be saying one thing in the astral realm and doing a completely different thing in the physical realm. They have no idea who they are in the emotional psychic sense. And to me, that can be scary. Not actually scary, it's just the word that I'm using. Just like in that realm of just kind of like, wow, this person is disconnected. So let me give you an example. I have a friend. Let me try to change that actually. No, okay. I have a friend who's not really really vexed with the let me not use that. Okay, what I'm going to say is you could have somebody who in the physical plane, they look like they're completely disinterested in you. They do not, like, you might even think they don't like you. And yet in the astral realm, they're telling you that they are in love with you. They are like just smitten with you and all this stuff. And that's never going to translate because they're disconnected. So they don't even know that they're doing that. It doesn't mean that they don't want to be doing that. No, they do. That is how they feel. But because they're disconnected, it's probably not going to happen in the physical realm until they, are more open to psychic and their emotional body. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, it's the same thing, except the only difference is that the person who is more introverted and really, really connected to their emotional and psychic bodies, if you were to confront that person about it, or you were to like ask that person about whatever psychic message that you got, they're going to confirm it for you. They're going to be like, oh yeah, like duh, but also you don't expect them to come to you in the physical and do that, confess their love for you. So they might confess, that person that is very introverted, they're going to confess their love maybe to you, but they know that they're doing that. That's how they feel. They are very, very much connected, but because they sometimes neglect their physical, what's going on in the physical plane, they're not going to come to you and say anything about it, but like I said, if you were to ask them about it, they're going to confirm that, versus if you go to the person who's so engrossed in the physical and neglecting their other bodies and you confront them about it, they're not even going to know what you're talking about. They're going to have no idea. They're going to be like, I don't feel that way about you, and X, Y, and Z. Okay. Now, for the most part, I wouldn't say, or what I would say is, at least for me, like looking back, don't go to the person who has no idea what you're talking about. There is no reason to do that. There's no reason to do that. Now, there are some people who we have, astral connections with that literally do not manifest in the physical, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. Now, of course, we have the person in the middle, if we want to say the balanced person. Now, that's the thing about balance too, right? Is that we can go off into either or, parts. Being balanced doesn't always mean that you're like the type of person that knows exactly what you're doing in the astral at all times and how you feel, and, your psychic impressions are exactly what you're going to say and exactly what you're going to do. Sometimes we might teeter on being introverted and kind of, being more in the astral than usual. And same thing goes for the physical. But for the most part, I would say I trust people who are more within the middle because they're more reliable. Does that make sense? What I've noticed throughout the years is that I cannot rely on a person who is so in the astral realm that they are like not even here physically. And I cannot rely on a person who doesn't even know what they're doing in the astral. Because it's like, I see you in the astral. And dude, like, what are you doing? And because they're so disconnected, there might be things going on in their life. They have no idea why any of those things are happening. They're kind of clueless. And so I can't rely on that type of person either. And so something that's really important to me is that the psychic messages that I am receiving are in tune with the physical, with the practical way that I'm interacting with this person. Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes, we have people that, we get the astral, there's no time. That's another thing too. So somebody could be telling me something in the astral. It doesn't mean that, if they're not going to tell me tomorrow, then this person's not reliable. Like, no, what I'm saying is how people move. And that's where I feel like discernment comes in. It's really, how are people moving? What are they showing you? And also, what are they telling you? And also, what are they not telling you as well? Because that's also a part of taking on impressions from this, the psychic realm and things that don't need to be said, So it's definitely, for me, it's been about grace, but it's also about being, taking those patterns that I've learned throughout the years and the experiences that I've had throughout the years, not being fixed on it per se, even though, I do have an Aquarius Mercury. So I can be very, very fixed on that as well. But not being so fixed, giving room for people to be fluid in the astral, because that's, what the astral realm is all about. But also as well here, room to be fluid. But I always tell myself, and, anybody who wants to hear it, that some things are not as complicated as we think they are. And so when someone is being completely different in the astral realm than how they are here, to me, that makes my ears kind of perk up a little bit, or my eyes kind of squint or widen a little bit more, just from the things that I know about a soul or a spirit. It's not so much about, this person was obsessed with the color black and now they're obsessed with the color purple. That's weird. Like, no, it's not like that. It's something that's very energetic. It's something that's very psychic, that I'm sure that you guys who also have experience with this know exactly what I'm talking about. There are some things, Some people say energy never dies. I've heard some people say other things as well. But if we're going to use the notion that energy never dies, it just changes. And so you're talking about like someone's aura or someone's, their spirit, that it could be in this life or the next or the past. You're always going to know who that person is, because that's what never changes. Even if their face changes, even if their style or the color of their skin, like, it doesn't matter, And so that's what I'm talking about when it comes to, psychic messages, but specifically within the dream time and the astral realm. So what else can I say about this? I guess I will give some advice for the person for both sides of that spectrum. And if you're dealing with, if you're having a hard time dealing with somebody who's like kind of far off into the astral or just really deep into the physical, and you're, in the middle, I would say my advice would be to come into the relationship or present yourself within the relationship in what is best. So I know when I have a psychic connection with someone and they're so far off into the astral realm that it's not really going to manifest, or what's the word? It's not going to be practical here. So I just pay attention to my relationship with them in the astral realm. I don't try to force anything here, because it's going to be too much physical energy for me to do that, and it's going to leave me disappointed. Same thing goes for somebody who maybe is disconnected to their emotional or their psychic body. I just focus on the practical, and it really is, at the end of the day, about what you need and what you want from your relationships. And can you receive what you need and what you want from those relationships? Because we need different things from different people. Okay. So my advice, so I don't need to give advice to the person on the astral or the person that's deep in the physical. But my advice to those of you guys who are like me, that you're in between worlds, and you might be maybe having a hard time with, I guess, relying on that friend that you have, that you guys' connection is built in the astral, or that friend that you guys' connection is built in the physical, and you kind of want to balance those types of relationships, but maybe you can't. I would say, have grace, and like I said, just focus on what the relationship is giving you, and what you're receiving, and what you are giving in those connections, in the respective realms where they are supposed to grow in. Everybody's on their own journey. Everybody is exactly where they're supposed to be. And I think it's awesome to be able to, have connections in the astral realm and have connections in the physical that, maybe don't cross, and maybe they're not supposed to. But also definitely keep in mind and be aware of connections, friendships, otherwise, whatever it is, people that you're coming into contact with that are grimy in the astral realm or in the physical. Of course, you don't want anybody like that in your life. It's one thing to be confused, like Neptune confusion type thing. And it's another thing to be like Plutonian confused, like power play and things of that nature. And maybe I'll get into that in another video. But until then, thank you guys so much for watching. Please comment, share, subscribe. Is that what people do? Comment, share, subscribe, like. I think this is the first time that I've said that, or maybe the second or third. If you are interested in a reading, go ahead and contact me on calendly.com/wormind, or you can email me for dream analysis readings. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.